reading.
Missouri Law 339. Who needs a license? Missouri Statute 339, known as license law, requires that a person be licensed to sell real estate in the following situations. Rules passed by the Real Estate Commission are promulgated which means made known in the license law. 1. If someone performs the following activities for another or receives compensation for money for performing these activities with regard to real estate. All of these actions require a real estate license. Sells, deals in options, procures prospects, offers to sell, lists for sale, charges an unlicensed person an advance fee, purchases, negotiations, leases, exchanges like a starter exchange, where you rent for a while to avoid capital gains, can get 3 commissions off of this transaction. Publishes a magazine such as Home, which is a real estate publication. Rent. Excuse me. Number 2, if someone attempts to do any of the above for another, a real estate license is required if someone advertises or holds him or herself out as a real estate broker. If this activity is either a part or a whole vocation, if any of the above are performed for an owner for compensation, a broker or salesperson cannot pay an unlicensed person for referral. See exceptions, page 4, number 10. License may be different types of brokerage license may be a corporation, a partnership, an association, an individual. A license from another state can only earn a commission. A licensee from another state can only earn commission if licensing Missouri as a broker or cooperates with a Missouri broker. Any person who is found guilty of Missouri law violation is guilty of a Class B misdemeanor. No commission unless you have a license. All business is conducted in the name of the broker, not the salesperson. Who does not need a real estate license? An owner or regular employee of an owner or corporation who is not in real estate as a vocation. An auctioneer employed by the owner of the property. An attorney does not need a real estate license. A court appointee, guardian, trustee, etc. does not need a license. Builders who sell their own property do not need a license. License. Government or public utility employees regulated by the state of Missouri or its subsidiaries. Bank or savings and loan employees engaged in the transaction of business on its own behalf and not for others. Newspaper, not of real estate origin. Registered with HUD, Interstate Land Sales Act. I'll have to find out what that is. Any person employed or retained to manage real property by, for, or on behalf of the agent of the or the owner of any real estate shall be exempt from holding a license if the person is limited to the following activities. Any person employed or retained to manage real property by, for, on behalf of the agent or the owner of any real estate shall be exempt from holding a license if the person is limited to following activities. Delivery of a lease application, a lease, or any amendment thereof to any person. Receiving a lease application, a lease, or amendment thereof, a security deposit, rental payment, or any related payment for delivery to and made payable to a broker or owner. showing a rental unit to any person as long as the employee is acting under the direct instructions of the broker or owner, including the execution of leases or rental agreements. Conveying information prepared by a broker or owner about a rental unit, a lease, an application for lease, or the status of a security deposit, or the payment of rent. If the person described in this section is employed or retained by, for, or on behalf of a real estate broker, the real estate broker shall be subject to discipline under Chapter 339. If a property manager sells real estate, he or she must have a license. Clerical personnel in a residential or commercial real estate office. The activities of unlicensed clerical or office employees of a broker shall be limited to the duties normally attributed to those positions. Unlicensed persons shall not do or attempt to do any of the activities of a licensed person. Cannot give property information. Who does not need a real estate license? Okay, I left off that clerical personnel in a residential or commercial real estate office. The activities of unlicensed clerical or office employees of a broker shall be limited to the duties normally attributed to those positions. Unlicensed persons shall not do or attempt to do any of the activities of the licensed person. Cannot give property information, sale price, assist or direct in the procuring of prospects, etc., to any licensee from another company. Must take name and phone number and have a licensee from his or her office return the call. Any employee acting on behalf of a nonprofit community or regional economic development association, agency, or corporation which has as its principal purpose the general promotion and economic advancement of the community at large, provided that such entity these are people who would not need a license. Such entity does not sell, lease, rate, or exchange on behalf of another person or entity, does not list or offer or agree to list the property for sale, lease, or rental or exchange, receives no fee, commission, or compensation that is directly related to the sale of disposal of such property. Quiz. An unlicensed secretary is the only one in a residential real estate office when broker calls from another company, calls requesting information on the property. The secretary may, B is the answer, take his name and have a licensee return the call. Remember, you want the best answer. Chapter 339 of the Missouri statutes is also known as license law. A motel desk clerk gives the names of persons looking to purchase a home who are moving into town to a salesperson friend in exchange for a small fee. Which best describes the situation? He would need a license to accept compensation for making the referral. Which must be licensed by the Missouri Real Estate Commission? The publisher of a magazine to aid for sale by owners. This would be a real estate magazine in selling their home. A newspaper who just advertises real estate does not give, that would be different because they do other things in the newspaper. But someone that runs a real estate magazine would have to have a license. A salesperson's licensed in another state, but not in Missouri, comes into Missouri and refers her brother to a real estate company in Missouri to assist him in the purchase of a home. The salesperson did this with the knowledge and permission of her broker, and the salesperson's broker cooperated with the Missouri broker in the sale of the property. What commission is she due? Her commission would be based on her agreement with her broker, which is fully negotiable. Which would require a license? A property manager actively leasing and selling for a real estate company. The license law originates from which of the following? The Missouri legislature, because they make laws. The eternal, that would be the answer. The Attorney General is in charge of investigation and prosecution, anything that hurts people. The Real Estate Commission protects the public. The Missouri Legislature makes laws, so that's where license law comes from. The courts enforce the laws. The Attorney General investigates and has to do with prosecuting anything that hurts the people. In regard to the license law, the word commission, which is our money, stands for which of the following? Missouri Real Estate Commission. I would have gotten that wrong. State legislature of who can have a license. Read it in context. Okay, that was a confusing one for me. Look for certain words on the text. Missouri Real Estate Commission. The Missouri Real Estate Commission, in regard to the license law, the word commission stands for which of the following? Missouri Real Estate Commission. Okay, I get that. The Missouri Real Estate Commission is the state regulator of real estate licensees. It is a government group established by the state legislature to protect the public and is known by the initials MREC. Who is on the commission? They have 7 members. Most must be a United States citizen. So don't let that confuse you. You can be a salesperson without being a U.S. citizen, but to be on the commission, you must be a United States citizen. They have 6 brokers and then 1 guy to keep out big, dark, colors, confusion, I don't know. They must be appointed by the governor with the advice and consent of the Missouri Senate. All 6 broker members must have been licensed as a broker for at least 10 years. 1 member is from the general public. All are appointed for a 5-year term. All of them receive compensation of $50 per day plus expenses when meeting. All are voting members. All must have been a Missouri resident for at least 1 year. Brokers can keep license while they're doing this, but not agents. What can the commission do? Hold hearings and pay fees and mileage of witnesses. Issue subpoenas. Promulgate, which means make known publicly, and enforce rules and regulations. What they can do is, of real estate agents, is suspend, revoke, or put your license on probation. The commission may sue and be used in its official name and shall have a seal, which shall be affixed to all licenses, certified copies of records and papers on file, and to such other instruments as the commission may direct, and all courts shall take judicial notice of such seal. The commission may sue and be used in its official name The commission can hire employees if they have a written budget. The commission elects their own chairman, hold regular meetings. The commission shall hold regular meetings to review applications, complaints, investigations, and audits, as well as transact any necessary business as may properly come before it. The commission may take action by authorized mail or conference call, as well as in person. The commission, if someone sells real estate belonging to another without a license, the MREC could obtain a restraining order in any court of competent jurisdiction. Not a general court of competent jurisdiction. The commission may order restitution be made to injured parties. However, even though the licensee makes restitution, this shall not be grounds for dismissal of the complaint by the commission except at its discretion. The commission can never levy fines. To me, that's in conflict with that. Can never levy fines or money damages payable to the MREC. Can never attribute commission disputes, arbitrary commission disputes between brokers or salespersons. They may not discuss any case pending before the AHC. The MAHC is the same as the commission, basically. Remember, the MREC cannot fine or give jail sentences. This is a job of the courts and the Attorney General. The MREC can assist as a term of probation, but restitution to a victim be paid. Okay, so that's different. Employees of the Missouri Real Estate Commission. Employees of the commission, not the 7 commissioners, may hold an inactive license during their employment with the commission. Quiz. Which of the following could be accused of a misdemeanor license law violation? B. A licensed real estate corporation. Be accused of a misdemeanor, a licensed real estate corporation. A citizen phoned the MREC with a complaint on a licensee. The MREC sent him a form to fill out. However, he never followed up with the complaint in writing. What would the MREC do? The MRC can investigate on its own volition. A complaint has been filed against Broker Grant. The MREC has the power to subpoena Broker Grant and his business records. If he's only in Missouri, though. Someone sells real estate for another for a fee without a license. What could the MRC do in this case? They could obtain a restraining order in any court of competent jurisdiction. Two brokers got into a dispute over who was due what part of the commission. One of the brokers filed a complaint with the MREC to get it settled. Which is true? True, false. The MRC will not enter into any dispute over commissions between licensees. A broker would have to deal with that. Investigation of activities. Steps in real estate licensing hearings. Receipt of complaints. Investigation of activities. Steps in real estate licensing hearings. Complaint is filed. The respondent has 30 days to respond. The MREC holds a hearing. The AHC holds a hearing. If innocent, it can be dismissed. If guilty, returned to MREC. The MREC decides punishment, suspension, revocation, probation. The MAHC is the Missouri Administrative Hearing Commission. They have 3 attorneys. They hear and review cases that are sent to them by the MREC. They work directly for the Attorney General. Receipt of complaints. A complaint against a licensee must be in writing. Form received from the Commission or the MREC may initiate a complaint upon its own motion. They have to send a copy of this complaint within 30 days to the licensee. If found the complaint does not involve a violation of license law, it will be dismissed and all parties will be notified. Each complaint reviewed under this law will be logged and maintained by the Commission. MREC hearing. The Commission has the right to subpoena witnesses and records. After MREC's investigation, if the MREC decides a violation has taken place, the MREC will then refer the case to the MAHC, Missouri Administrative Hearing Commission, for review. The MAHC holds its own hearing. If the MAHC is in agreement with the MREC, the case is sent back to the MREC. The MREC will then act on its decision to suspend, revoke, or place the license on probation. If the MAHC finds the licensee has not violated the license law, the case is dismissed. Findings and punishments. The role of the Missouri Administrative Hearing Commission and appeal procedures. Who serves? Attorneys make up the Missouri hearings. Missouri Supreme Court. The attorneys must be admitted to practice before the Missouri Supreme Court and work for the Attorney General's office. The licensee violates 339. It is a Class B. Class B misdemeanor. If a licensee commits a crime against the public, fraud, embezzlement, robbery, etc., he or she could be subject to criminal or civil liability or prosecution under the general laws of Missouri. Will not be associated with real estate after that or anything associated with defrauding a bank, etc. Holds hearings on its own or per the MREC's request, determines guilt or innocence. Turns the case to MREC. Remember, the NAHC, Administrative Hearing Commission, and UNIS are not the same. Now, quiz. The authorities are investigating a violation of the law by a licensee, which would happen. The Missouri Real Estate Commission could revoke or suspend his license. The MREC has heard rumors that a broker is violating the law. Can MREC investigate? Yes, but they are limited the investigation to the incident that sparked the rumors. Yes, no complaint is necessary for the MRC to investigate. MREC has heard rumors that a broker is violating the law. Can the MREC investigate? Yes, no complaint is necessary for the MREC to investigate. The MREC, believing a licensee has violated the law, may file a complaint in any court of competent jurisdiction. A written complaint has been filed against the salesperson. However, the salesperson was in the process of transferring to a different company. Which of the following statements will be true? The new broker will be notified by the MREC of the fact that the complaint is pending. The MREC is investigating a licensee may issue subpoenas for all records relevant to the complaint. No, licensee doesn't issue. Petition the Attorney General for an injunction. Make the licensee submit a subpoena out-of-state residents who were involved. Issue subpoenas for all records relevant to the complaint. That's correct. Two brokers are applying for a broker's license as a partnership. One of the two has been found guilty of embezzlement but has made full restitution, which of the following is true. If the license is denied, they could contact the MS for a hearing. Which words like may not, wishy-washy terms. A member of the public has filed a written complaint against the licensee. The MREC has notified the salesperson of the complaint. He or she responded in writing. Which of the following statements is true? The complaint will be furnished. Complainant will be furnished a copy of the salesperson's written answer. The salesperson, no, sales.
Is that a procedure to follow, and that will ensure the job is done to your satisfaction, and that there are no surprises about what's conducted. Okay. Anybody have anything else to add to that one?
Actually, the boys that take for answers, the shows that they do that. And girls that take for answers, they actually do that.
But isn't that crazy? That's that little thing, you know, I told you that, you know, the chromosome like this, and then there's one that's cut off, and that's the whole way, and you're missing that part. It's self-sacrificing part, they just cut that off. Okay. Number 8.
One of the puppies five-year-old Robbie learned to write his name. She wrote out his name on a piece of paper, saying his letters she printed them. He carefully tried to copy the letters. After several false starts, his mother saying, "No, that's not quite right. Now try again, honey." Robbie was beginning to become frustrated. He would scratch out the letters he'd written and start all over. Finally, after about 10 minutes of painstaking effort, Robbie finished his name. He straightened up with a big grin and a bit of puffed out chest and said, "How's that?" Mom looked at his work and said, "Well, that's just fine, but your R and E are backwards." And with drooped shoulders, he scratched out the letters and started again. Oh,
Hurt.
What should she do? Want to tell him what was done well? Developmentally, she's off key.
How old is he?
5. Children do not have small muscle control at 5. It's perfect for reproducing. And if she feels there's something she wants to do, she should maybe do it with other things that are more daft, like maybe do enough Play-Doh or something like that, you know, so you learn to do that. And she should probably cut down his frustration time, not let him work as long, so he doesn't get frustrated.
Okay.
And practice the training, tracing letters or something like that, so when he does, he shoots share. Okay.
Do you know what someone who subscribes to Piagetian theory would say about that? Anybody? I know there's people in here who had Piaget. It's come out their ears. What would they say? What would the Piagetian person say? Unless he's interested in doing this, do not make him do it.
Yeah.
Don't make him do it.
Well, it makes it sound like he is interested, none of it's helping.
Okay.
That's what, that's why I thought.
Yeah, I think she was
Well, she-
wrong in her approach, but
Well, sometimes you have to help children realize that there's so far you can go in and right now.
yeah, and that's developmentally appropriate.
But I don't think she should have been at all, I don't think.
Yes, okay, and maybe that's something else that a developmentalist would say, that he should be able to write his name any way he wants. In fact, when you learn about American language, that's what you learn.
Yeah.
You let him write it that way, because to them, a chair is a chair, and it could be upside down hanging from the ceiling, but it is still a chair. And so is an A and A. That's just the way it works.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Anything else, Jelena?
Sometimes you have to push them.
It does.
Yeah.
It definitely does. So you would advise her, as a parent educator, you would tell her, let it be. Let it go, and appreciate what he did. Exactly. Okay.
You can also relate. Introduce it into different situations, like draw a picture, have him write his name on it.
Sure.
Don't make it formal and say, okay, this is your name, write your name.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So you want to,
Well, right away, left brain kind of things aren't really straight like they do.
yeah.
You know, kids often reproduce letters backwards to what's written. Third grade, you know, it doesn't take that long to get it.
Sure.
So, one thing she should have made, well, she could have tried it, like you said, the tracing. I taught preschool for 6 years, and if it's something fun, like, the big fat line, you know, has a line over
Yeah.
line, fat paper. Anyways, I took that and wrote their names on it and laminated it so that they could pick a washable marker and just retrace it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't always be on a line, so they thought it was fun because they could wipe it off and start all over, and wipe it off and start all over. And it has other things on it other than their name.
Mm-hmm.
They could still, you know, color on it or whatever and wipe it off, but it helps that it's just, you know, they can do it for as long as they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the time I got done with them in 9 months, they could write their name, so. But if you have to make it fun, they're not gonna wanna do it.
Okay. Number 9?
We're not nine. Oh, there. Bobby came running into the house from school. He grabbed a snack and started to run out, but as he was leaving, Mom said, "Don't forget to feed your dog." She heard him say, "Yeah, Mom," and the door closed. When Bobby returned, it was dinner time, and as he came through the door, Mom was putting the food on the table. She asked Bobby, "Did you feed the dog?" He said, "No, I forgot." And from the scouts, Mom said, "Well, since you didn't feed the dog, you can not eat. Now go up to your room and stay there." Bobby went to his room and lay on the floor in the doorway. right there on the yell down the stairs, you don't love me anymore. We wrote actual quotes.
Okay, actual quote.
Yeah, so, I'll be mom. When you feed your dog, then you may go outside. If you can, if you have the...
Yeah, okay, you can walk on it, okay.
Yeah. Good. Bobby, please keep your dog. If you don't, the dog will sleep with you for a week. Or for this evening, or some sort of, depending on the child.
Okay.
Bobby, how do you feel when you're hungry? Dennis, how your dog feels now, can you please feed him? Bobby, can you feed your dog now? Or I will feed him, and you will ensure outside services. A choice. You do it or I do it. If you don't feed your dog, you take responsibility for him, and that's kind of harsh. We will have to let him go to a home where he will be taken care of.
Yeah, it's like, this is constructive. It's like, okay, we're kind of, this will make it go up. So we have gargantuan discipline. Okay.
We have to do it right now. You don't sit down to doctor unless you have your animals. We have,
Everybody's got a
we
pet.
have bunnies, we have dogs, we have cats, we have birds in my house.
Yeah,
And there's 3 young children in my family, we're all responsible for 2 animals.
right.
And so, but it's no big deal, when I call them in to come to wash their hands or whatever, which is usually 5 or 10 minutes before somebody gets to the table, I say, protect your animals, not you better run quick, because your stuff will go when you get around to it. So, and, you know, once or twice after waiting me out, there's no big deal.
Okay.
That way,
I just have a question.
Yeah.
If you don't start this stuff when they're young, I mean, I stayed at home for 11 years. So my son was 11 and my daughter was 9 when I went back to work part-time. And I did everything because I was always home.
Yeah.
You know, even though we had jobs. And, yeah, we asked them to do things like pick up garbage. And I wasn't consistent. It wasn't all the time. We tried to go out and spend the whole work. They really never did anything. And now they're 15 and 11 and I'm trying to start now. It's like too late to give it up. You know, they leave the jobs and
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of happens.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to say you can't eat. I mean, they're so old now. How do I get my industry is helping now?
Yeah. I think that with any age kid, you just have to accept that you have to remind them. You just have to remind them. I don't know if it matters how old they are. I don't really think it does. So don't give up. And I think I would also feel to this sense of impending adulthood. I mean, they really want to be mature people. I sincerely believe about kids who are 9, kids who are 11, kids who are 13 and going on up, no matter how negative they seem to be with us, if they want to value their maturity, and so you can also go for that part of it. This is part of being a mature person, you accept responsibility for
Being a part of the household.
And at our house, it's also like we've done the thing about, do you get paid for this job? Everybody gets an allowance. But do you get paid for this? Or is this part of your contribution to our family? Because you are responsible for helping keep the rest of us happy. This is a group of important people, and we all want to be happy with you, and so you've got to contribute something and be committed to this also. We're, of course, a step family, and that makes a little difference. But you've got to be committed to staying here and being with us. So, and that means something, being committed to your family.
And I have a puppy if anybody's like one. I have a puppy to give away. Border Collie, Austrian Shepherd, something that came over the back fence. Low key, lovely little male dog. We had 8, we now are down to 1.
Down the road. Okay, you're Ben Benali?
Okay, this is entitled Parents Sometimes Parents Talk Too Much. Jan and Darla were 6 and 8 years old. They along with their parents on their way to their grandparents' house 50 miles away. Cars had centered the interstate when Jan, Darla, began to bicker. I brought that book for me to look at, and Darla, who was 8. I don't care, said Jan, who was 6. I want to look at it. The argument proceeded to worsen as the car split by the first mile. By mother turns to the back seat and attempts to intervene, but the girl super responds. Father, placing one hand firmly at the top of the steering wheel, turned around and made a swipe at Gina's leg, shouting for them to shut up. The force of his swinging arm caused the stand on the wheel to move, and the car swerved. Almost another car. Now Mom and Dad are both upset. The father is threatening to stop the car and give him a spanking, while the mother, between her references to father's driving the car, launches a long lecture about sharing the peace of his love. The girls, quieting somewhat, were heard to make disparaging comments about their parents, with the whole family now upset with each other. Kids continue on for a fun weekend around.
Our suggestions was that they should plan and anticipate beforehand what they might take on a car trip pre-pack. Pull over the car, pull over, stop the car and conversate. Another suggestion, ignore them because they're probably used to their parents' response. So they're probably accustomed to their parents jumping in and making everyone furious. If Darla brought the book, she should be able to decide whether she wants to share or at least have her choice in reading the book. Parents need to be consistent with dealing with their behavior problems, and parents should model the behavior they want the girls to display by remaining calm, nonviolent, and communication dealing with disagreements, and have them apologize or lose privileges. Anybody else have anything to add? Oh, I always pull over and say, we will talk to each other and we give you the book. Right. Okay. And thank God you pull over. Would anybody have suggested having a shot of whiskey before you leave on your there? I don't know, but it did occur to me. Okay.
She just years in my girls, they don't use the title on. We pull over and I sit down. It's okay. Yeah.
I think that sounds fine. The only thing that would make me mad as a parent who was doing that is that then I feel like I'm the one who's being punished. You know that? You know?
But I've been sitting in the taxi for years.
Yeah.
There's only one of me, and there's only one of you, so where are you going to go? That's true. Go ahead. My husband was from Maryland, so we traveled up there really an awful lot.
Yeah.
And it was easier for us to pack, they each had a backpack. They took markers, crayons, cars, trucks, whatever it is that they wanted to take with them. And they had the same snacks, they had the same things, they had the same everything, so that there was no question about who was what. They had their own stuff.
Yeah.
And it worked really, really well.
Yeah. I think it can be pleasant.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay, will you all take a break? And then when you come back, would you pile your work up here on the desk? Let's take a quick break. All right. You know what time it really is? It is really 6:15, so that clock is a little slow. About 5 minutes slow. Okay, when that clock says 15 after, I'm going to put a video in that is T-Berry Brazel talking about the changing family. Yes.
I'm paying her to cook a few times a week, and she actually wants to. I left home about 6 o'clock. I can imagine. Feel like your day is almost over. Actually, it's not, because you're gonna get home and start all over again. Wash the dishes, wash the clothes. I love they told me what chapter to cover. Yeah, and like, I mean, other teachers are probably like, yeah. Samantha? Why are they doing that? I don't know. Well, I had actually some of them figured out that they do things this year. And, like, she teaches parenting. She says she goes to that little lady, only one other teacher teaches that. She goes in there and every lady writes down exactly what she has planned every day. And the lady holds worksheets for it, all kinds of things. And if they put, she says the same way. It's all planned every teacher. And she's working there? Yes. Oh my goodness, they took me in, and I found out today that I'm teaching the wrong class. I mean, my district is. I mean, they said, look, she's been teaching us. There's child development, there's no curriculum, there's nothing there. There's no teacher's book or anything. So I've been trying to add to it and bring things in and stuff. And today I went to my district meeting, and she said, oh, you don't teach child development this semester.
News to you.
And I said, well, I mean, I'm not having any child, I'm not a mom, somebody's cheerleading.
That's what I heard. Somebody I know makes her really doorbell to her.
Oh, yeah, something.
Yeah.
She's all right. Yeah, you'll be to my class, too.
So, but I was talking to her about Rockwood. She's a little girl who was in my house. And, but she was telling me.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, she's like, you're on.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
First year teaching, they say, will you take it, or did they say, you're taking it?
No, they asked me to go and do it in the interview, and I said, well, I think when I talked to the girl having somebody else, I thought she was with my best as well. And then she's like, well, this is what you do, and I said,
So you have a background.
I actually did, I fired a couple of things, yeah. Last week, I think,
Okay, well, what about what she might go know, and how she might go to the no.
she hated it, I mean, she didn't me. And I
Why
wanted
did
to
she
show
go
them.
down?
Well, she just didn't like teaching, like, she didn't like all the paperwork and stuff. And I kind of gave her also stuff, I thought I would work with you, but I had to take contract that, and then the bird called me. And then, I mean, she is out there, late out, she's out there, you know, she said she does have a great day, like, 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm okay, I mean, I'm great, I'm cheerleading, I'm done. Where do you stay? You can teach the stuff.
Well, my teacher says I stay and do things. You know,
Yeah,
do you know Mrs. Wicker? Did you work with her at all? No. You did not? No, I'm at 5.
Oh, you are fine. Oh, yeah. You are Oh, really? Yes, Sandy was
I
on.
was young when I was in Nixa.
Okay.
But I would say, what, you were with Nixa. I was with her now. You were with Christine.
Yeah, Wicker's great. I think like he's more like,
She's great. She's an excellent one. But at night, I was just
so,
and I had a department head from
yeah, you know,
When it comes to baby talk, he has no equal. He spent a lifetime studying little children, and has learned that in all the fooling and pawing, some serious messages are being handed back. Hospitals around the world use the Rasmussen Behavior Scale, a test for newborn babies which he invented. He is chief of the Child Development Unit at Boston Children's Hospital and professor of pediatrics at Harvard. In 40 years of practice, he has helped to raise, by his own count, some 25,000 babies. But that number is actually much higher. Rasmussen's books on child raising, he's written half a dozen, can be found in American homes all across the country. Oh my goodness. And the new actor is playing with her. This generation of parents calls him the Dr. Spock of the age. And so it was of particular significance when Barry Rasmussen turned his attention to the problems and challenges of working parents. Rasmussen is worried about the way the marketplace is treating families. Something precious, he says, is being compromised. Here in his home in Cambridge, we talked about the American family and how it has changed since we were boys in Texas. When you were growing up in Central Texas and I was growing up in East Texas, the typical family was the father who went out every day and worked, and the mother who was the housewife. And that family went on. It's practice and it now exists, and they married
15, 20% of families have 15. But you know, we all still have that myth in the back of our minds. We all think, oh, if we could only get back to that. And it keeps us, it makes a bias. We have a very strong bias in this country that families ought to be self-sufficient. And they're not, they ought to be punished for it. And all of our legislation for families comes with a negative base. We won't let, well, you should be poor or unwed or incompetent. Then you get a handout from the government. Otherwise, you get nothing. And to me, that carries with it a kind of Rosenthal effect. Yeah. He says that if you label somebody and they know the label, and I think people always do, then they live up to that label. He did it with rats. He labeled a bunch of rats, dumb rats and smart rats, and then he got his graduate students to put them through a maze. None of the dumb rats got through the maze, and all the smart rats did. But what he found when he filmed his graduate students was that they picked up a smart rat like this, and they'd go right through it. They had a dumb rat like this, drop them in, and the dumb rat couldn't get through. But this is what we can see. So not only the rat performed as expected, but the people handling the rat. And this is what I noticed. And we're treating families that are not able to make it on their own as if they were dumb rats. And of course they fall apart. Of course. And then the smart rats, the people that we think can make it, you're saying can't make it alone anymore. That the old myth of the rugged individual and self-sufficient family is just that. Yeah. Well, I think our society is too stressed. We have a very seriously stressed society. This kind of stress I think right now we know some things pretty clearly that women are in the midst of a real tearing struggle. And the struggle is, should I be at home? Should I not be at home? Should I work? Should I not? Why am I not giving my children if I have to be away from them? And women's roles right now are very much on the map. And most women are torn into whether they're staying at home or whether they're working. Either way. And I think that means we got backward enough. And I think men are going to be in that same role in a very few years as they take more and more interest in their families and are more and more involved. So we're into a personality struggle of trying to find identity. Young people are. And I would like to back them up for whatever decision they make and be sure that they can do a good job by themselves. And then they're bringing that sense of power home to their kids. And the kids don't think about power. Yeah, when they get into the workforce and find they're confident, they come home feeling great. And they can pick that baby up and say, hi, I missed you all day long. And sit there and watch these kids and get close to them. They come home feeling, she's waiting all day. Missed me so much. Then they're thinking about your screen. They say, oh my gosh, put it down, walk away. And we lost the mother anyway. You used to believe that mother should be there at least for the first year when you're born. You didn't change on that? No. Did you? No. Except that I have come to believe that I missed a great deal because I felt inadequate when my children were young, and I'm not that to my wife who seemed instinctively to know what to do. I don't try to. I think frequently, it's a little about we all like to hear if I ain't here. I'll tell you why I'm doing that. I just don't know how to be the best father I want to be. And those things, I don't know the art of it. I'm afraid of making mistakes one side or the other. If I've got through with one thing, thanks to the beneficence of my wife's instinctual talent to raise children, I don't think I'm going to try it. 3 times and I've come out well. They come out well. Well, you're projecting. You're projecting on your wife. She's sorry you're going to say that, but you would get so much out of it. And, I think what we're missing is that people who are participating in the mild miracle of having a baby and raising that baby in the first few months and feeling that baby look back at you and say, hey, she's looking at me. She's smiling at me. Don't ever reach another level of development themselves. And so I think, yes, I really believe parents, both parents, ought to be very involved with their babies year is even a possibility in this country any longer. But because, well, I think financially we've stressed people beyond that. I think psychologically women are really too torn right now to feel comfortable or happy about staying at home for the first year. I hope that any mother who watches this will realize that staying home the first year is like giving a big gift to your child. But most people don't have that choice. I read this the other day that it now takes 2 full-time laborers to buy essentially what one sex would buy until the early 1970s. So that this is not altogether a matter of just choices. There's an economic surge, this economic imperative that drives both parents out of the market. I think 50% of women in this country have a choice. They have to work. The other 20 to 30% might have a choice. That there's a very subtle thing going on right now in my practice, at least, that young women say that I might be one of that statistic of being a single parent. 50% of families are breaking down. I might be one of that 50%. I have to make it on my own. I have to make it. And for my children's sake, I've got to keep my career going. That's so subtle that I think there may be other things like that going on in women's minds right now. And if I get out of the workforce, I've lost something that I can't repair. And I think rather than ignoring it or getting mad at it, which, you know, it's easy for men to do, we better think what it is and help them see what it is so they can make appropriate choices.
But that's what the contradiction you raised. You simply communicated that women should be within force for at least the first year. And yet you just said economically they have to get out of the marketplace. So that seems to me an irreconcilable contradiction.
It is at this point, but I think that the government and, you know, national government, state government, individual businesses, and individual families were willing to look at it. They could triage the cost of that in a way that would make it, well, cut it into 4 pieces that have been hurt everybody, and then make it possible for women at least to stay home long enough to know that baby is my baby, and I'm that baby's mother, and do the things that her father on the other day stayed home long enough to deal with.
And you've seen parents who never bonded with their children in those first few months.
Never did, and what happens? A lot of young women say they don't want to breastfeed because they have to go back to work too early. And you say, yeah, but you can do it and you go back to work, and it's neat to come home for a baby breast, you can do that. And they'll say, I can do it. Why not? Well, I can't do it somebody else is doing. And their eyes will fill up with tears, and they'll say, I don't breastfeed, it's too painful. So what they're talking about is how painful it is to separate if you're that close and leave it to somebody else. And we can take care of that if we thought about it. We should provide decent daycare where they felt safe about leaving the baby, and then when they came home we could provide them with enough information about how to get close again and how to dare separate and come back and make it again.
Are you saying that the family that bonds together early is more likely as the years come and go to stay together?
If you learn to bond with a new baby, it's a rare opportunity that you ever have that much energy ready to give to somebody else. If you learn what bonding is all about and how hard it is to stay attached, bonding is falling in love, but attachment is hard work. You stay attached. If you learn that you can get through those first 3 months and that they still looks at you, smiles and both like it, and says, ooh, and you say, ooh, back, and you say, ooh, it's the second time, and you say, yeah, and you say, oh, you come and running every time to grab with his eyes or his mouth or everything else. You know what it's like to be attached. And you don't want to give that up so much when the stress is coming to marriage or comes later. So I think this is an opportunity for young people to learn what the work of attachment is all about, the rewards of attachment, and there aren't many chances like that in life.
You make an interesting distinction. Bonding is falling in love, the giving of oneself to a natural affection. And attachment is a choice, an act of will, and commitment.
It's learning. It's a learning process. You learn what that person needs to give back to you, and what you have to give to get that person to give back to you. The baby looks at you and says, ooh, you have to give to everything that baby's doing. When the baby goes, ooh, you kind of go through with them, and you let down, and you go with them. We know from our work now that a mother and a baby get lost into this in, out, 4 times a minute. Working like this, working like this. I call it prostitute eyes, because prostitutes use them. And what they're doing, you are important. And I agree on it. Yeah, I'll finish with that. How are you doing? Oh, baby does that. And if a mother's tuned up, she does it with them. Our Father, and those kind of stuff. And they're learning what it takes to get that baby to look at them that way. What happens to mothers who go on in this area? Many years later, what happens? What do you think? They always feel okay. They feel like they missed something. I think fathers do too. You do. Fathers who went off to the Korean War, for instance, and their wife had a baby, I could see when they got back, they never quite understood that first child. And it wasn't until the second child came along and they watched that baby come through everything. And then you could see them kind of say, hey, that's what this kid's all about too. So missing out on that early on for either parent is like missing a whole part of your life. Are you convinced that father's involvement makes a difference? Well, no question. Every bit of research we have shows that. Let me tell you why. By 2 weeks of age, well, by 7 days of age, a newborn will know its mother's voice from another woman's voice, and will choose it every time. By 14 days, if the father's involved, that baby will choose his father's voice and face from another male voice and face. So in 14 days, he's learning what his father's all about. Now, by 4 weeks of age, if you put a baby in a baby chair and the mother comes in to talk to him, baby even needs to see her face.
the same problem. Okay? We got 50,000 is what the seller wants to net. That's what he wants to net. He's got 600 in expenses. And he's getting a refund, and I don't care what kind of refund it is. I don't care if it's taxes. I don't care if it's he paid his mortgage payment extra. I don't care what they call it. But he gets a refund of $2,700. Doesn't matter what it's for. Okay? And he's paying a 6% commission. Okay? Anytime you see the word seller wants to net, or after paying a commission, what do? First thing you do is you add what? Add the expenses, subtract the refund, and divide by the aggregate of the commission. So, this would become 50,000 what? 600. Subtract 2,700, what's what? I don't have a calculator. What?
47,900.
47,000 what?
900.
900. Okay? And 100% minus 6 is what? 94%. Divide 47.9 by 94 and hit your percent key.
50,957.
How much?
50,957.
Even?
44, 45.
45, whatever it is. Okay? Now, to prove that you got it right, work it backwards. Take the 50,957.45 times 94%, and what do you get?
47.8.
Should get
99,999.
You should get this. You should get that, if you gave me the right figures.
Yes.
Okay? Now do what? Add the what? Add the refund. What do you get? $50,000 what?
600.
50,600 and subtract the 600. What is the seller going to net?
$50,000.
$50,000. If any seller net problem, and by the way, this is not a net listing. Don't get it confused with a net listing. We're not, the seller said, I want to net, what do I have to sell it for so I can net this? And this would be the list price. The list price would be $50,957.45. That would be the list price. So you're listing it as a definite price. A net listing is when the seller doesn't set a set price. Seller says, I want 50,000, you can have anything over that. That would be what? Illegal because it's a what?
Net listing.
I don't need you to represent me. I can represent myself. I'm an attorney. I'm a CPA. I've bought lots of real estate. I don't need representation. I don't want a buyer's agent. Okay? And so therefore you're working as a what? Agent.
No, transaction.
The presumption is, so the selling agent, I call Jacob. Call you up to the office, Jacob. This is you. Hi, it's Rich Winkemer from XYZ Realty. How you doing today? Good. Good day? Good. Well, it's a great day here at XYZ Realty. Listen, I've got a buyer that wants to see your property over on Cherry Street. Can I show it this afternoon? Okay? Would you check with the seller and see if I can get in at 4:30? Okay? And call me back and let me know. Okay? Or you say it's vacant. Vacant, there's a lockbox on the door. Okay? Either way, either you're going to check it out with the stuff, because you don't want me going into the house if they're in the shop. remember, I said dare to show. Okay. So you want me to do that? Okay, so if the property is occupied, you're gonna do what? You're gonna get permission for me to show. Okay, now, I called you and I said I want to show. Did I say anything about agency?
No.
Okay. If I say nothing about agency, what's your presumption that I am? I'm a transaction broker. The law says that without any disclosure from this person, you are presumed to be a transaction broker, which means that you're not representing the buyer, that your job is to facilitate the transaction for the buyer. Because the buyer doesn't want buyer representation, and you didn't say anything to me about working with me as a sub-agent of the seller. You didn't tell me you're a buyer's agent. You didn't tell me you're a sub-agent. So my presumption, or Jacob's presumption is that I'm a transaction broker. Yes, sir.
Well, ministerial act, they're somewhat related to showing the house as well. How does that?
As a transaction broker, can I show the property and perform ministerial acts?
Yes.
I can. But I can perform, because I'm a transaction broker, there are more things than just ministerial acts that I can perform. I can perform ministerial acts, but I can also do other things, because I'm a licensed agent. All right, can I write an offer?
Yes.
Can I present it to the other agent? I mean, I can do anything, can't I, as long as I'm licensed. So I can do not only the ministerial acts, but I can do other things. How about an unlicensed secretary?
No.
Are there some of the ministerial acts that she or he could perform?
Yes.
Yeah, there are some things that he or she could perform. Okay? But what we're talking about here is an agent, a licensed person, let's put it that way, who prefers to operate as a transaction broker. Okay? In this case, this person doesn't have a choice. He has two choices. He could either be a sub-agent of the seller, or he could be a transaction broker. By not saying anything, this person is presumed to be a transaction broker. Now, let's say that I make the same call, and I call Jacob, and I say, "Hi, Jacob. Rich Winkemer over at XYZ Realty. It's a great day here at XYZ Realty. I've got a buyer that wants to see your property. The buyer doesn't want me to operate as a buyer's agent, nor does the buyer want me to be a transaction broker. I want to be a sub-agent of your seller. Is that okay?"
What do you think that's the seller?
Well, you've already cleared that with the seller.
Okay, yes.
You did that in the listing agreement. The listing agreement says that the seller gives you permission to cooperate with sub-agents, buyer's agents, transaction brokers, or dual agents. Listing agreement says that. Okay? So if the seller has said no, then what's he going to say? No. Seller doesn't want to cooperate with sub-agents. Why wouldn't the seller want to cooperate with a sub-agent? Why? Why?
He has his own buyer.
He has no, well, let's not go there yet. We got another buyer. Let's assume we're the only buyer. But the seller doesn't want to cooperate with a sub-agent. Why? Sharing commission is not the issue. Not the issue, not the sharing of commission. Because the seller's already agreed to share commission. This seller says, "I don't want to cooperate with a sub-agent." Why?
You don't know what to do with one agent?
What?
I'm just guessing, I'm saying, does he just want to deal with the one agent?
No, he's willing to deal with a buyer's agent, and he's also willing to deal with a transaction broker. But he's not willing to deal with a sub-agent. Why? Because it's a liability issue. If, picture this scene now. This selling agent calls and says, "I want to be a sub-agent of your seller." All right? So we're going to be a sub-agent here, right? Sub-agent. If he's a subagent of the seller, he's also a subagent of who? The listing broker. And who else is the subagent? The selling broker, right? So everybody then here owes a fiduciary duty to whom? Everybody, the buyer is standing here, what? By what? By himself. So everybody here owes a fiduciary duty to who? To the seller. Now, what happens if this sales agent from another company, who the seller has never met, doesn't tell the truth? Who's responsible?
The broker,
Who's responsible?
the listing broker.
Everybody. Everybody in the loop, including who? And mostly who? The seller and the broker. But you're going to have some liability too. So sub-agency is really a thing of the past. It's what we used to do. In days of old, when I got into this business 25 or 30 years ago, sub-agency was common. It was very, because we didn't really have buyer agency. We didn't have it. If you had a listing and I wanted to show your property, I came and showed it to the buyer that I had in tow. Now, it could have been my brother. Now, if it was my brother and Jacob said, hey, the seller, they're asking 3 1/4, but they'll take 250. Now, I was a what? Sub-agent, so could I disclose that to my brother? I was a sub-agent of the seller. Could I disclose to my brother that Jacob said they take 250? No. I couldn't disclose it because who did I represent? The seller. Did I know that 20 years ago? We never even talked about agency. And if I had my brother in tow, can you believe for 1 minute that if he told me that they take 250, that I wouldn't have told my brother? Of course I did. How many of you have bought a house more than 15 years ago? And did you work with a buyer's agent or a sub-agent? Did you sign a buyer agency agreement?
No.
Okay, so you worked with an agent who you thought represented you. Am I right? But here's the deal. If you told that agent, let's offer 250, I'll really pay 275, guess what that agent probably did? Probably went to the seller and said, hey, they said they pay 250, but they're offering 250, but they'll pay 275. So we had to get rid of all of this. And there was a lawsuit in Edina, Minnesota over agency. And it changed the entire face of our industry. That's when sub-agency started to go away. We still have it. It's still legal in Missouri. This broker and this seller could agree to work with a sub-agent and take the chance. And some still do. But generally speaking, these people are saying no sub-agency. You want to show my property, be a what? Be a buyer's agent or be a transaction broker, because then the line is drawn here. You guys are responsible for yourselves, and I'm responsible for myself.
What's the buyer giving up having the agent be a transactional agent versus a buyer's agent?
Well, let
No,
me
it's not.
put it this way. First of all, when you ask me that question, I have to first tell you something. I think transaction brokerage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not a fan of transaction brokerage. Florida is almost entirely doing transaction brokerage. And if I was a buyer or seller, I would say, look, I don't need you. I'll go get a lawyer. What this buyer is giving up is the fact that if you're a transaction broker, all you can do is facilitate the transaction. You can't tell me anything. You can't say, I think you're gonna overpay for the property. I think it's too much. I think you ought to keep looking. All you're doing is shuffling papers. You don't have a fiduciary duty to that buyer. If you're a buyer's agent, if I represent you, like I'm representing this buyer that was just in the office over here, they were just here. Okay? We just got the inspection report yesterday. Had it inspected there for 4 hours yesterday, this little condo. Okay? And he found all kinds of stuff wrong. And the seller in this condo added a sun porch. And when he added the sun porch, it's leaking in between the house and the sun porch. And it's caused all kinds of damage, and he's saying it's the condo association's responsibility to fix it, and we know that it's his responsibility to fix it. It's been jerry-rigged. Whoever did the job didn't do a professional job. So now what's my job to tell my buyer as a buyer's agent? We want it fixed. We want it fixed. We either want money to fix it, or we want the seller to fix it. The seller's saying, look, I'm giving the property away now, and I'm not giving you anymore. So then the buyer has to decide what?
That was,
Is the commission the same whether you're a buyer's agent or a transaction agent?
Yeah, so far. So far. But you know what? Here's just a real quick, and this is on point, a real quick story about transaction brokerage. My daughter bought a house in Florida, wanted to buy a house in Florida. She called me, she said, Dad, I want to buy a house in Florida. I said, okay, Leslie, find a broker, call him up, tell him that your dad's a broker in St. Louis, and he owns a school, and he wants a referral fee, and that he wants you to be, whoever you're going to work with, he wants you to be a buyer's agent. So she called me back, she said, Dad, I got a wonderful man, he's terrific, my friends work with him, everybody loves him, but they don't do buyer agency here. He says, he wants to talk to you. So, get him on the phone, no problem with the referral fee, by the way. There was no problem with that. Mr. Lincoln, I'm sorry, I can't be a buyer agent for your daughter, but you know, she was referred to me by all of these people who are friends of hers, and I want you to know that if you let me work with Leslie, I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to see to it that Leslie gets a good deal. Now, what is that?
Nothing.
What was he being? He was being an undisclosed buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Okay? He was a buyer's agent in disguise. Really? Right?
Right.
Because if you explain transaction brokerage to somebody, if you look in the book and explain what you can do as a transaction broker, and then you explain what you can do as a buyer's agent, who the heck would want you to be a transaction broker? It doesn't make any sense. So, but we live with the rules. Okay? The rules now today say transaction brokerage is legal. Does everybody understand this? Everybody got that now? Who asked the question? You okay with it? Okay.
As a transaction broker, one is not compensated, right?
Transaction broker is compensated.
Oh, they are.
Sure. If this guy ends up being a transaction broker working for this buyer, he's going to share the commission with that other company. It's not a problem. Sharing the commission is not an issue. Okay? We'll share commission with a transaction broker, and it's the buyer's problem as to whether or not he's getting good representation or not. Okay?
okay, when we first started talking about the sub-agent, and then I said, so we are always a sub-agent. And you said, yes, but we're not always a sub-agent.
Not depending who you're working with.
We said we're always a sub-agent of the broker.
You are.
Because the broker is the
You
agent.
are going to be a sub-agent of the broker. Even if you're a buyer's agent, who's the buyer's agent? The broker is the buyer's agent, and you're a sub-buyer's agent. Okay? You're
Which
a
is
sub-agent.
different than...
Well, it's the same principle.
Okay.
It's the same principle, but you're the salesperson is always a sub-agent of whoever he's working with, because the broker is what? The agent. Yeah.
Okay, the question I have is,
why would an agent want to be a buyer's agent? Why was he trying to be an undisclosed agent?
Because his company wouldn't allow him to be a buyer's agent.
Is they typical in
It's
Florida?
their company policy.
Their company.
Their company policy does not allow their agents to be buyer's agents.
So did you keep him?
Pardon me?
Did you let your daughter work with
Oh,
him?
yeah, she worked with him. He was her agent all the way. I mean, he helped her, he suggested prices, he said it's too much, it's too little, it's too this, it's too that. He, he certainly didn't represent the seller, and, he definitely was on her side, and it all worked out fine. And I went to Florida, I looked at the house and took him out to dinner. I mean, it all worked out fine, this time. But what if it didn't work out? And that's the place where the Edina real estate company got in trouble. It didn't work out. They sold a lady by the name of Jamie Burkowski a house. Jamie bought a house, and she was told that the house had an underground sprinkler system. And it didn't. And she went to Edina, to the president of Edina, and she said, look, your listing sheet says that this house has got an underground sprinkler system. The president of Edina said, it's a mistake. We're sorry. She said, okay, it was a mistake. I want an underground sprinkler system. And the president said, the underground sprinkler system is a faucet on the side of your house that you turn on, you get water. Okay? There is no underground sprinkler system, we're not going to give you one. So what did Jamie do? She went to an attorney. And the attorney said, why are you here? Well, I didn't get my underground sprinkler system. They said it was a mistake. And the lawyer said, well, and I wasn't there, but this is what I presume. The lawyer said, well, that doesn't seem right. I'm not sure I can get you an underground sprinkler system, but tell me about the transaction. And they got to talking about the agent that helped her buy the house. The agent was the listing agent. And it turns out that he did what? He gave her information about the seller, and he was an undisclosed dual agent. All right? He said things that he shouldn't have said, and he told her things that he shouldn't have told her. So they sued for undisclosed dual representation. Turned into a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Not only, they did a class action lawsuit. It was on the news. If you think your real estate agent has ever taken advantage of you, call 800 blah, blah, blah. Okay? It was a big, big issue, big deal. And so there was a big lawsuit, class action, on the buyer's behalf, and then the sellers got wind of it, and the seller said if there was undisclosed dual agency from one side, it was also from the other side. So they filed a class action lawsuit. I mean, and it changed the industry. Now, by the way, in Illinois, you can't even offer sub-agency in the MLS. Can't offer it. It's gone. Two brokers can agree, okay? But anyway, everybody got the picture? Sub-agency, buyer agency, dual agency?
I've got a question about people coming from out of town on these licenses in Missouri. And it says that we have nearer states where we don't have to take those, take that, for our license fees and go on down the road. How do we know which states are that? Does Merit automatically know that?
Generally speaking, we reciprocate with touching states. States that touch Missouri. Illinois, Kansas, Tennessee, Iowa, states that touch Missouri. Generally speaking, we reciprocate. Now, the truth is that Missouri has been rather lenient in this respect, and if somebody's coming from California and they've got a California sales license, and they get a one-time sitting. They can take the test one time, sales test, and then they can get their sales license. But they have to prove that they're in good standing in California. Okay, so they get a certificate from the state of California saying that I'm in good standing. Now, if they're a broker, they have to take the sales test first and then the broker test. Now, how about a lawyer, by the way? Can we share our commissions with an attorney? Huh? Can we share our commissions with an
If it's
attorney?
agreed upon, yeah.
Anybody you want.
We can.
No, you have the license. You have the license.
People
doesn't need to be licensed.
Well, a lawyer's license is a lawyer.
I know, but I mean, get referral fees or anything like that.
Here-
Only the broker can pay all the
Let's make it clear. First of all commissions are shared broker to broker. Salesperson is never involved in sharing of a commission. Ever, never. So if somebody wants a bird dog fee or a whatever fee, you can't pay it, even if they're licensed. Okay? The only person that can pay a commission is a broker. So if you're working with somebody and you want them to get a part of your commission and they're licensed, it gets paid from who to who? From the broker to the other broker and then to the salesperson based on the agreement that the salesperson has with his or her broker. An attorney can only get paid a commission if he's got a real estate license. Can't get paid otherwise. All right? Got to have a license. An attorney is an exception to the license law from the standpoint of working with consumers to help them through their transactions. But you can't pay, your broker cannot pay an attorney Sorry, I got to take this. Yes, sir. I'm teaching a class. It's got to be quick. 9:30. Yes. I talked to him. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. Sorry. So it's changing my golf time for tomorrow. I got to see a doctor about this.
Did that just arrive?
I don't know. I got to go see a doctor. Anyway, you can never pay anybody who doesn't have a license. Okay? I don't care if it's an attorney. I don't care if it's the guy in the motel. I don't care if it's the person in the restaurant who makes the referral. You can't pay those people. Okay? Now, could you take somebody, if somebody from the restaurant across the street called and said, "Hey, Rich, I know somebody that wants to buy a house. Will you work with them?" And I say, "Sure, thanks a lot." Now, could I take that person to lunch?
Sure.
It's called de minimis. And did they expect me to take them to lunch?
No.
Now, here's the deal. If I go around to the restaurant, all the restaurants in the area, and I leave a flyer that says, "If you send me a buyer, I'm going to take you to dinner at Tony's." Is that legal? No. I mean, that's illegal. But if somebody sends me a buyer and I want to take them to dinner at Tony's and they don't expect it, is that okay? What about next time?
No, because the next time they'll expect it.
We got to make it clear that what? That this is not something that we do on a regular basis. I appreciate what you did for me. Here's a ticket to the ball game. Okay? But you can't pay people for bird dogging, anything that's like that. Okay? They've got to have a license and it's got to be done through your broker. Got it? Especially for the test. Remember, I mean, in the real world too, but for the test, remember, no fees can be paid by anybody to anybody except by your broker. Now, this month, by the way, I have 3 attorneys who came and bought all my materials and who I'm working with to help them pass first the salesperson's test and then the broker's test, because they want to do real estate on the side. But they got to get a license. Can't do it unless they get a license. Okay? Next question.
Well, they're buying all your supplies.
They bought all my materials. They came and bought our correspondence books with all our questions and all of our answers, and they're working with me. I'm giving them an hour a week to talk to them about things that they may not be clear to them. And the one thing I tell them when I get attorneys that do this, I said, you got to forget you're an attorney. You can't ask yourself what if. And that's a good lesson for you guys. Don't ever ask yourself when you're reading these questions, what if? You read too much into the questions, you're dead.
Yeah.
You got to read the question twice, read the answers twice, eliminate 2 answers that you know are wrong, and go with your first choice. Have any of you learned that yet?
Yeah. Yeah,
If you second guess yourself, you're dead.
Yep.
And an attorney Think about an attorney doing it. I mean, they work on what if.
Probably harder.
You know, and, I mean, attorneys that I know, you ask them a question and what's the answer? It depends. So they're looking at these questions saying, well, what if, and it depends. So be careful that you don't do that. Next question. Anything? Yes.
All right, under what the commission can do,
Oh.
it says that the commission may order restitution.
What page you on?
Page M09.
Okay.
May order restitution be made to injured parties. However, even though the licensee makes restitution, this shall not be grounds for dismissal or a complaint. But then where it says what can't the commission do, we know that it cannot levy fines or money damages. To me, restitution means money damages.
Not a fine, it's not money damages.
What
Not
is
a
it?
fine. It's a whole different story.
Okay?
This is, the commission is saying, look, you did something wrong. If you want a chance to keep your license, you're going to take care of that consumer. They're not fining them individually and saying, you did something wrong, pay us. Now, in some states, Illinois, for example, if you do something wrong, they have a recovery fund. And the salesperson or broker is made to pay the money into the recovery fund. That's what they're talking about here. We don't have a recovery fund in Missouri. All the commission can do is suspend or revoke or put you on probation. But another thing they can do is suggest restitution. So if you tell the buyer that the house has window air conditioners and all the window air conditioners are staying, and when the buyer moves in, they're gone, the commission is going to look at the case and they're going to say, you told these people that the air conditioners were staying and they're not there.
But it's not his fault, the agent's
It
fault.
is his fault.
If it was in the contract that they were saying.
He might have left it out of the contract,
Okay.
okay? And it could be his fault as well as the seller. The seller could have taken them and not taken them with permission. So, and the seller, by the way, is already moved to Tippecanoe, California. So who is the MREC going to go after? You.
Wow.
Okay. So they can ask for restitution. It's not considered a fine.
But they don't force you.
Oh, well.
They strongly
They
encourage
don't
it.
force you. You don't pay. You buy license. You had a question, sir.
They advertise, what has to be stated and advertised?
Name of the company. Name of the company. The name of the company has to be in an ad. If the property is listed and you put a sign on the lawn, it has to have the name of the company. If you advertise in the paper, it has to have the name of the company. Is there any? It doesn't say you have to have what? You don't have to have a phone number. But it'd be kind of silly to advertise on the lawn or in the paper without putting the phone number in. But the law only says you have to have what? The name of the company. Now, if you put your name in an ad, what do you have to put in? The name of the company. Anything you put in of yours, you have to put in of the broker. You put in your phone number, you got to put in the broker's phone number. Now, if you're selling your property for sale by owner and you're licensed, the sign has to say for sale by owner salesperson. But then you can't do anything through the company. You're not going to put it in the MLS. You're not going to do it. It's for sale by owner, just as if you were a private owner. The only thing is you have to disclose to the consumer that you are licensed. We sold our house 2.5 years ago. I tried to do it for sale by owner. Who knows more about real estate than me? Okay? It was a disaster. I mean, I didn't have time to do it. My wife didn't want to show the house, even though she has an inactive license. She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to show the property. So, but the sign on the lawn said for sale by owner broker, the seller disclosure that we did, by the way, is seller disclosure a law? Does the seller have to fill out a seller disclosure form?
No.
The answer is no. Can the seller sell a property as is? The answer is yes, he can, but what do they have to do? They have to disclose everything that's wrong. Okay? So you can sell a property as is, but the disclosure has to be there. And the form just does what? Provides a facility for the seller to tell the buyer what they think is wrong with the property. And therefore, they've made the disclosures.
But you're saying that they don't have to have it, and then you're saying they do have to have it.
I'm saying that, look, if I knew, here's an example. I knew that one time in 30 years, I lived in the house for 20-some years. My wife built the house with her ex-husband. One time in all the years that she owned the house, the sewer backed up in the basement. It totally ruined the entire lower level. Fortunately, we were covered by insurance. So we fixed everything up, and it was just like it was brand new. The tile on the floor, there was tile under the carpeting. We had to have Spearco come in and remove the tile because it was asbestos. So they put the yellow, it was like a murder scene, okay? With the moon suits and the whole thing. Now, 8 years later, we sold the house. We put the house on the market. Did I have to disclose the sewer backed up?
Yes.
What do you think most people would do? Not disclose. I disclose because, look, I'm a real estate broker, I'm a real estate teacher. I figure, what the heck? Might as well disclose. What can it hurt? So I disclosed that the sewer had backed up 8 years ago. And the buyer, and first of all, by the way, it was of record with MSD. So if anything ever happened again, and they found out that it had happened before, guess who they were coming after? Right. I could see the headline: real estate teachers sued for non-disclosure. You know. So I sold the property as is, but I disclosed. Okay? And that's the important issue. Keep in mind throughout your whole career and for the test that the important issue here is the commission's job to protect the public. Okay?
Okay, now, why was it sold as is and it was repaired?
Well, did I have to disclose it?
No.
I mean, first of all, we don't know that there was ever anything wrong. By the way, MSD was disclaimed any responsibility for what happened.
Right.
There were no roots in the. We had the guy come in with the, they take a camera and stick it down the line, and he calls me over and he says, "Look," and I look. He says, "Dirty in there." I said, "It's a sewer." I said, "Are there any roots?" No roots, nothing. MSD had a truck on the street that day, and they were blowing the lines out. And I claim to this day that they caused it. There was really nothing to disclose other than it happened. But do I have to disclose if I put a new roof on the house? Do I have to disclose I put a new roof on? We had a fire and we fixed it all. Do I have to disclose that?
Yeah.
No, not really. It's been what? It's been fixed. It's been repaired. There is really, as long as everything's been repaired, is there any need for me to disclose? No.
But with a sewer backup that you didn't really have an answer for.
There was no answer. I figured it could happen again, and I didn't want it to happen and not have disclosed.
And by then, major, you would have to say as is. I'm selling as is because of the amount of damage it can produce.
Well, no, I'm selling the property as is, and I'm notifying you when you're selling a property. Look. Let's give another example. I've got a house that I own, and I've had tenants in there for years. and I want to sell it. The house is coming off the foundation. Its basement leaks. The roof is bad. There was a fire in the bedroom. There's all kinds of things wrong, and I'm just going to disclose all that stuff to you, and you want to buy it? Here's all the disclosures. I'm signing. You sign that you know about it. I'm selling it to you as is. It's your problem as long as I've disclosed it. If I didn't disclose it, then you can come after me.
Right now, I'm looking at a property that's as is, it's listed, and doesn't list anything as to what the past history of the house is. My assumption is as is means as is. If it's not a material defect as blatant, that's my problem.
But you can't hide things.
Right.
You can't hide defects. The seller's saying, I'm selling the house as is. If he's got boxes stacked up in the basement in front of a cracked wall, and he knows it, and the basement leaks like a sieve when it rains, then he's lying. So there has to be a disclosure of what's wrong.
Same with the sewer situation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Question is that if you had a fire, it was property, or the fire was repaired.
Entirely repaired, I guess.
Entirely repaired. What if the owner did it himself and didn't get any permits or anything like that?
Well, that could be a problem. Yeah, there could be a problem there. If it's inside, does it have to pull a permit?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have structural damage, you have to pull a permit.
But I didn't say there was structural, I said there was a fire.
I mean, okay, so you got electrical fire.
Okay, then we've got to do what? We've got to pull a permit.
Pull a permit.
Yeah, and we got to pull a permit, no question.
That same house that's as is, with no disclosure, has some leaky pipes in the basement. Okay. Wasn't told about it, went to see the house yesterday, found the leaky pipes. Disclosed it to the agent just to make sure that he knew that there were leaky pipes there. Should he have disclosed it to me in the first place, where now that he knows about it, does he have to update the MLS?
He should.
Something?
He absolutely should. Now, there's no seller disclosure here? Okay. Question is, if the seller wants to sell the house as is, find out what's wrong.
Right.
Have an inspection, like we did yesterday. We had an inspection. Guy was there 4 hours, like I said. Have an inspection, find out what's wrong. The seller's telling us everything's fine. There's no problems here.
Problem with the inspection, though, is that if that's coming out of my pocket at $100 some odd and an hour, and I decide not to buy the house, I'm in the hole.
You know what? Might you not be better off, though?
Right.
Yeah. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm getting to understand how this is, I got a disclosure form, and they cooperated, the seller did it, pulling it out, and there's a line there, and they put as is.
By the way, the seller always fills it out.
Right.
You never fill it out as an agent.
Exactly. And getting to that point with it as is, what I'm getting from this is that they're disclosing everything they know about the house, their knowledge about the house, but they're not going to do anything to it, because the buyer wants it.
They can't be disclosed.
Right, that's what I
Still have
said.
to say, the basement leaks, the toilet's broken.
Exactly.
The electrical system needs replacing, if they know it.
Right.
Anything they know, they have to disclose.
Exactly.
The old theory of buying and selling a house was the seller says to the buyer, caveat emptor. Caveat emptor means what? Buyer beware. That's a dead issue. Today, it's, seller, you better disclose what you know.
Even with foreclosures and REOs, you still have to disclose.
Of course they should. Of course they should. Now, what a foreclosure is going to say, or an REO is going to say, we never lived there. They're going to fill out the disclosure, and they're going to say, look, we never lived in the property, we don't know.
They can do that, can't they?
Yeah, if they don't know. If they don't know there's any problems, then they can do that.
What's an REO?
Real estate investment, owned by the bank, whatever. Property owned by the bank. Next question. Anything about stuff on the book? In the book. Very lost. Very lost.
thing that Ed had mentioned to us about as his property was that the owner still has to disclose all of the facts, but they are saying, I am not going to pay for
Well,
it.
they don't have to.
Right.
I mean, we found on this inspection that we did last night, we found all kinds of electrical problems, plumbing problems, the roof problems, we found all kinds of stuff. The buyers are over there now, right now, they've just left here. They're over there now saying to the seller, we want you to fix this stuff, or we want you to give us money to fix it. And the seller, his attitude is, I'm giving the property away. I'm not going to take a dime less, and I'm not going to spend any money to fix anything, because he thinks he's got a beautiful property. Well, we've proved that he doesn't have a beautiful property, that there's some things wrong. So now it's a matter of negotiating with him, and the other issue is, does the buyer want to lose the property for a couple of $1,000s? So that's where it's down to.
Some of the problems though on hands is, won't the seller be responsible for fixing them anyhow because it won't pass inspection, so he won't be able to
Pass
sell
whose
his
inspection?
house?
Whose inspection?
The fire marshal?
Well,
Well, it depends
remember, how many municipalities did Ed say we have in this area?
I know.
Yeah, so some municipalities have inspections, some don't. This property happens to be in St. Louis unincorporated.
No inspection.
There's no inspection.
You have to go through like, it's kind of like being an agent, like going through like your accounts and like what is like kind of legal and what's not, like what we broken law with like escrow accounts, with money, dealing with money.
Escrow account.
Yeah.
Escrow account. Okay, so first of all, what is your obligation as far as an escrow account? You're doing a deal. Gina, you're the buyer. You give me a check. You give me cash. You give me a diamond zirconium ring as earnest money. You give me the 2 pigs or the cow. And what's my job? What do I have to do as a salesperson?
Turn it over to me.
Put it on the broker when? Immediately. Okay, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
You put it in his desk, you put it under his desk.
It's cash.
You put it in the back of his drawer. You
Go
never
wake
him
him up. I
up.
love it. The brokers love it when I teach you that.
Never wake him up.
They love it when I teach you that. But the truth is, for the test, what does the law say you're supposed to do?
Immediately.
Deliver the money immediately. How long does the broker have to deposit the money?
10 days.
And what kind of day?
And what day?
10 banking days. 10 banking days. Now that's all of those things in the back of the chapter there, the things to remember, 10 banking days to do this, 3 days to do that, 72 hours to do this.
MO-66.
Pardon me?
MO-66.
Yeah, MO-60, you need to know those things. You need to be able to recognize those. And the one issue, if a broker changes his escrow account, how long does he have to notify the commission?
10 days.
15. That's one of the only things that's 15. Okay? So you need to make sure that those issues are clear to you. That all of those issues are clear to you. Okay? Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. So you deliver it immediately, and the broker has 10 banking days to do something with it. Next question. Anything, Missouri law. How about closing statement? How about the closing statement philosophy? When you sell a property, if I'm the seller and you're the buyer, on the settlement statement, how is the sale price treated? On a full settlement statement, how's the sale price, who gets debited, who gets credited?
Credit and
The
seller.
buyer is the
Credit the buyer, debit the seller?
Credit to the
Sale price is
seller.
what? Who's buying the property? Debit the buyer, credit the seller. Okay? Let's stick with the buyer's statement. Okay? On the buyer's statement, the buyer's getting a new loan. How is the new loan treated on the settlement statement?
Credit to the buyer.
It's a credit to the buyer. Why is it a credit? Because somebody else is bringing the money to the closing. The earnest money we already talked about is a
Credit to the buyer.
You close on the 15th of the month. Closing is on the 15th of the month. You got an $80,000 loan at 10% interest. Okay? the buyer has to pay interest up to what? Buyer has to pay interest from the 15th to when? To the 30th. Okay, now that's the biggest issue that people forget on a settlement statement. It's interesting that people forget interest. But if you close in the middle of the month or any time after the 1st, the buyer has to pay interest up to the end of the month. So from the 15th to the 30th is how many days?
15.
Count it on your fingers.
14.
Count it 15 to the 30th. Buyer pays from the 15th to the 30th is 16 days. Count it on your fingers. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. How many days in each month? 30. How many days in a year? 360. Okay? So the buyer owes for 16 days. All right? You got to figure out how much does he owe for those 16 days up to the end of the month.
But you won't actually be calculating that. The closing company will be.
No, but you could be on test.
Right, I understand.
You could be on test. Yeah, in the real world, you probably will not be calculating that. But you need to know it for what? For the test. Buyer always pays up to the end of the month on the new loan. Seller, when he pays off his or her loan or their loan, they pay what? Back to what? The 1st of the month. So if we close on the 15th, the buyer owes from the 15th back to the 1st, which is how many days? 15. Okay? Well, here's the deal. The buyer is closing on the 15th. You're the bank. Are you going to give me a free day? No. So you're paying 16 days. If the seller's paying off his old loan, from the 1st to the 15th is how many days? 14 days. 15. It's 15. Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I know it's a difficult concept, but that's the way it is. Okay? Huh?
So in other words, if you're a seller, you want to try to sell before the 15th of the month.
No, it doesn't matter. If you close on the 20th of the month, you pay what?
From 20
Interest for 20 days. Because, see, if you owe me $80,000, I'm the bank, and you borrowed $80,000 from me. On July 1st, you made a payment. Okay? So on July 1st, you paid for when? For what month? You paid for June. Because in home ownership, or in most real estate payments, you're paying in what? In arrears. So when you pay the July 1st payment, you paid for the month of June. That brought your mortgage balance down to $80,000 exact. So on July 1, your mortgage payment, your mortgage balance is $80,000. How much is it on July 2?
80,000 something.
It's $80,000. Because it doesn't change until when? Until August 1st. So if on the 3rd, on the 10th, on the 15th, on the 20th, if you close on the 30th, the seller owes for how many days? 30 days, interest. The principal balance doesn't change. You owe $80,000 plus 30 days interest. Get it? Okay? That's for the seller. Now, the best time for the seller to close? 1st of the month. That way there's no interest. Okay? So you need to know these issues in a closing statement, even though you're not going to do one. Everybody know how to do a tax proration? You're not going to do a full closing statement. Everybody understand how to do a tax proration? It's really easy.
It's just math, basic.
It's really. If you do it my way, a tax proration is simple. Okay? As soon as you hear the word taxes, I want you to draw a timeline. And here is January 1st, and here is December 30th. And let's say we're going to close on July 15th. Okay? The question becomes, how many months and how many days does the seller live there from January 1st to July 15th? How many months and how many days does the seller owe for? Because the taxes are paid every year. How many months, how many days?
6 months, 14 days.
How many months?
No, you're for 7 months and 14 days.
I just got you in the trap. How many full months?
6 full months.
It's 6 full months and how many days? It's 15 days. Right? The seller, seller lived there during this time, didn't he?
Yes.
So he owes for 6 months and 15 days. Right? So if you do it this way, if you do a tax, and you will have to do a tax declaration, I promise you that. You need to know how to do this. But this is the simple way. So 6 months and 15 days the seller owes for. Now what I do is it's January, February, March, April, May, and June, and 15 days in July. Okay? Good. All right. What I do is I break it down to the lowest common denominator. How many days in a month?
30.
30. 30 times 6? 180 plus 15 equals how many days? 195, right? Okay. The taxes are $900 a year. How am I going to find out how much it is a day?
Divided by 360.
Divided by what?
360.
Divided by 360. How much is it a day? You got a calculator? How much? Okay, leave that number in your calculator. Do not ever take the number out of your calculator till you finish the problem. 250 times what?
795.
Equals how much?
487.
How much?
487.50.
Now, that 487.50 is a debit to who and a credit to who?
Debit to the seller.
Debit, who owes it? Who lives there? Who owes it? So
Debit to the seller.
Debit, if you take the I out of the word debit, what do you got?
Debt.
Got a debt. You take the word out of the I out of the word credit, what do you have? Got nothing. So debit is a debt. So who lives there, who owes it?
Seller.
Seller. So debit the seller,
Credit the buyer.
credit the buyer. The same amount. That's how you do a tax proration. And this is the easy way. If you can do this, what I just did, there's no tax proration on the test that they give you that you can't do. None. It's just that simple. Everything's 30 days.
Unless it's the other one.
For the test, unless they say otherwise. February's got 30 days. It's a banker's year. 360 days, 30 days in a month. You don't even think about leap years, jump years, 5 years, nothing. 30 days in a month. 360 days in a year, unless they tell you otherwise, and they're not going to. They're not going to tell you otherwise on the sales tax. Maybe on the broker's tax, not on the sales tax. Everybody okay with that? Everybody can do it?
Mm-hmm.
How about an insurance proration? You go through an insurance proration? Everybody do it? Please go over it. Well, I go over it anyway. Okay. say that we've got a property that is selling, and we're closing July 15th. And we've got an insurance policy that was bought last year. It was bought in October of last year. It was bought October 1st last year. 2002. Okay? It's a 1-year policy. Well, let's make it a 2-year policy, just for kicks. 2-year policy. So, and the cost of the policy is $1,500 for 2 years. Okay? So we have all the information we need. We got all the information we need. And by the way, the buyer is assuming the seller's insurance policy. Okay? Buyer's going to assume the seller's insurance policy. So now, here's the way I do an insurance proration. First thing we need to know is the year. And then we need to know the month. And then we need to know the day. And first thing we're going to put down here is with the year. With the year. WITPPU. What do you think that stands for?
What insurance?
When is the policy paid until? Okay, so it's paid until in 2000 what? 2004. What month? October, which is the 10th month, and what day? 1. Okay? Now, next thing we need to know is
Closing date.
WDWC. What does that stand for?
What day will you close?
When do we close? When do we close? We need to know the closing date. So the closing date is 2003, right? July, 7th month, 15/6. Tell you what I'd like to do, if you don't mind. I'd like to make the closing in November. So that would be 11, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
The 11th month? I'll explain why I'm doing that, because I want to make it a little more difficult. Okay, so we're